Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. Good evening. It's August 7th, 8:02 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Luis Carlos Pineda. I'll be your host today, and we have a packed show. John will be joining probably a little late. He had some diligence that he had to take care of. So we'll once he comes in, he'll give us his input on a massive, massive win. Orlando, tu papá, Necaxa. Orlando, your daddy's home. No, definitely a massive win. Everything worked in the attack. Everything, absolutely everything worked. You know, the team shut up a lot of haters, shut up a lot of people. Uh, a lot of passive aggressiveness. A 5-1 victory over Necaxa in the League's Cup on August 6th. A dynamic and lethal attack strategy by Oscar Pereja capitalized on 110% precise passing, superb clinical finishing, and exploiting a poor Necaxa side. Now, I think Orlando is going to be in this um, Necaxa FX documentary, kind of like the Wrexham one that they did. And I'm sure that this goleada, this massive result, this bulky result for Orlando, full of goals, will be in that in that documentary. Today, we have a packed show, as I already mentioned. Drop us your comments. We have the win versus Necaxa. We'll also be talking about the tactical strategies on the win against Necaxa. The Leagues Up quarterfinal. What are our chances? There's a new Orlando City signing. Kudos to Ricardo Moreira, and also I read some stupid crap about, as always, there's always going to be people that are going to talk down on the players. They're going to talk down on who they are and how they perform before they even see them. They're like, why can Orlando not sign Heung-min Son? Why can Orlando not sign Messi or Ronaldo? You know, it's more than that. If you are an OG and you know how this club works, you know that there have been signings that have been busts, just like any other club, but there have been signings that truly had set us on the right path, and they've left a legacy here, like Nani, Faku, I would say even Joao Moutinho, players that, Yoshi Yotun, players that have definitely, set some history here. But there's some signings that have not panned out the way they wanted to, which is okay. But the success stories overwhelm in comparison to the busts. But we'll discuss about who is Adrián Marín. Adrián Marín, new left back for Orlando City. Well, and then we're also going to preview Inter Miami at home. A massive, important result that could definitely set the tone for what's coming next for Orlando City in the MLS. So stay tuned. We're going to be discussing all those topics. We're going to read your comments right now. So thank you for your support. Let's read some comments. Landon, good evening, guys. Tuning in from work, hopefully is not too busy and I can listen. It's okay, my friend. You don't have to listen live. We also have the recorded. Don't get in trouble, my friend. JCB's 95. Buenas noches, everyone. What a great game from the boys. Games like these make its statement for sure. A lot of quietness in the Liga Mexicana side. I felt Gago was very arrogant. We'll discuss that later on. I think he was very arrogant. And with all due respect, Gago, papá, no has ganado nada, hermano. Con todo respeto, no has ganado absolutamente nada. You haven't won anything, absolutely anything. Alex Yu, Lewis, are you still do not care about Leagues Cup? Do you owe an apology to Orlando's players and coaches? No, I do not owe anyone an apology. And I clearly don't care about Leagues Cup. I mean, if you give me the pick, if Oscar would have put OCB in this game, I would have been okay with that. I still stand by my decision. I would have been okay with that, and put all the eggs into Inter Miami's basket and try to win that game for the fans, which I believe that's what's most important. But Oscar Pareja is a very good coach, and I feel like the boys wanted to make a statement. They wanted to definitely compete in both tournaments, and they're doing that. And so I think that that's good for them. That definitely, hopefully, this 5-1 win catapults them into becoming the team everyone in the fandom wants to see. JCB's Gago para carne asada, pero para el fútbol, correcto. Gago, 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 hacer choripanes, pero en el fútbol, en el fútbol, que no se meta, que no se meta. 2rep1, you're 2 minutes late. LOL. Well, it happens, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I think John just joined just now. Let me go ahead and put him through. What's up, John? Good to see you, my friend. You came in the right time.
I'm even more than 2 minutes late. Sorry.
Well, there you go. No, I was a little late.
We're
The
busy
music.
guys. We got lots going on, but we're
Yeah, we got
always
we
here
got
on a Thursday when there's a Wednesday game, Luis. We're consistent.
and there's a bad storm where I'm at right now. It's like a mess, but it's okay. We're here, guys. We're going to be talking about Orlando today. David Alvarez says, "What insanity! Who would have thought El Toro with a first half hat trick?" Let's see what Mr. Rollins have to say about this win.
I'm gonna say this. I've been really busy at work, and I this week with the game on prior game on Saturday, and another one on Sunday. I was getting out of work late, and I was like, you know what? This Wednesday game, I'm just not gonna be able to make it in time. I'm just gonna watch this one from home. So Steph, my wife, goes. She meets up with Paula. The two of them are watching. And then what happens is we score 5 goals in the
So
first
they
half.
went to the game and you stayed.
Yeah, so the one game that I don't go,
Wow,
Luis Muriel scores a hat trick. I
that's
mean, am I
hilarious.
bad luck? Am I bad juju? I don't know, bro. But regardless,
So
I
you're the
mean,
bad juju.
I didn't think this was real. I'm sitting at home on the couch, like, did Muriel just score a header? Did he just score another header? Did he just score a hat trick? Is that what we're watching right now? So anybody who could is going to claim that they saw that coming. No, there's
Of
not a
course.
single fan, and everybody was being like, Muriel is not doing anything because he wasn't. And then I don't know what it is. Do you think Oscar said to him, "Yo, bro, we really need some goals," and the guy just said, "Okay, I got you." I don't know, but you love to see it, and I want to see it more often, Luis, because yeah, great finishes. Sometimes he can complicate things with his feet, and I just feel like you can't complicate a header, right? You can't
Yeah,
complicate
there's
a header. But even the third goal, he just hit it with his right foot first time. Like we haven't seen that from Muriel, and that's what I want to see. Just first time clean finishes. So yeah, 10 out of 10, incredible Muriel performance. Love to see it.
so uh Luis Muriel has scored 6 goals and 6 assists in 25 MLS matches for Orlando City in the 2025 season so far. Additionally, he scored a hat trick. This hat trick is 3 extra goals in League's Cup against Necaxa. That brings his total goals across all competitions to at least 9 goals and 6 assists for the year so far. Now, Urgent Kara, before he left Orlando, had 8 goals. I remember this. He had 8 goals, so he already without reading and writing, without knowing to read and write, he just he just surpassed Urgent Kara. But certainly I agree why fans were, and I think with all due respect, why no one ended up not believing his signing and everyone throwing his signing to be a bust, because he's the highest paid player in the team. And when you have kids like Freeman, that Dagger Dan that's playing all kinds of positions, you got cats like Kyle Smith that, solves you a game defensively and tactically. You know, it's just not fair that this dude's like literally just jogging on the field and not contributing for the attacking third to work. Now in this game, and I told Oscar when I asked him the question, I was like, I congratulate you because everything in attack worked. Everything worked. This was the game that I think they need to literally replicate. Like just watch this film again, and
And
because they look silky as hell, all of them.
that for me is like, is it partly a mentality thing, right? Because they came into this game with, we have to go at them and get a lot of goals. Now, partly Necaxa just fell apart and had to defense like Swiss cheese. I mean, Muriel is not going to be that unmarked in the box that often, but it was a really good performance from us. I mean, we had 14 shots total, Luis, 10 on target, which is definitely higher than our usual, hit rate. We had 6 big chances this game, and we still missed 2 of them, according to Football. So we were creating a lot when we were being clinical, and Necaxa just, I mean, they couldn't defend. I mean, you can't, like, yes, Ojeda's goals were really great finishes, but Muriel being unmarked in the box, like, that's, you can't be doing that. And he punished them for it. So good for him.
Yeah, it's a 5-1 victory over Necaxa, and to me, I believe the high press and quick transitions, at least in the offense, really it's what disrupted Necaxa. I expect them more of this Necaxa side. I was talking
Yeah.
to John
Like, what
on the
was up
last
with them?
spot. I was talking to you, John, on the last spot how Gago sucked as a coach, and I think
Yeah, you called it,
he
bro.
I called it straight through. And I feel like it was that, and it's a young team that's built by a lot of loans throughout the Liga MX, and they just, Orlando's press was just so on point that they were forcing the ball to turn over, and just going from quickly from defense to attack, especially in the first half, and they scored 4 goals in 45 minutes, and so they had no response. I think I don't know, Martín Ojeda. Obviously, he didn't get his hat trick, but I mean, what a player we have. What a I wouldn't say even a player. He's just he's becoming that person that that entity that after Nani left the team you can rally behind. You know, that was something that maybe Facu's aura, and we discussed this in previous pods. He kind of didn't have that leadership. That hey, I'm gonna pass the ball to Ojeda. He's gonna do something with this. Ojeda is becoming very influential in every single game consistently. So definitely, he's having a monster season. Um, JCB's 95. Gago put 5 subs at the half. Se cagó. I know. Muriel had a great game and played really, really well. We just need more consistency from him. Tour rep number 1 says, but the best goal by far is Ojeda's, for sure. I mean, bro, you saw that, bro, how he hit that
The
volley, like,
volley,
boom.
so sweet. I mean, just that goal to start off the game was like, all right, here we go. And then just the speed of which Muriel's hat trick happened, and it was just all so many goals, so aggressive, so attacking from us, and the boys just look really hungry. And even later in the game, Luis, like the 60th minute, you see Oscar like shouting at them like, attack, like we need more
Yeah.
goals. And like, when do like a game or so ago, everybody's like, oh, you parked the bus. There ain't no bus in this game. The bus was not there,
No.
Luis. It was keep going, and then he brought on subs, and even the subs, like Nico Rodriguez, had a really nice run up the right wing, Luis, and many of the subs, I feel like, were aggressive, and we're still trying to get those goals late into the game.
It was not the bus, it was a Porsche. It was Orlando City
Yeah,
was a
it
Porsche
was like we're
straight
on a
up,
motorbike. Keep going.
and Necaxa was on a scooter, on one of those lime scooters
I don't know what. I
outside
don't
the
know. I think
stadium.
Necaxa left their, they put their
Yeah.
flip flops on back in Miami, bro. Because what were they doing?
And tactically, Goggle again, no idea. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know that people are gonna be like, "Oh, how?" how mean are you to talk about a player that's playing Real Madrid? And look, guys, they're great players. No one doubts that as a player, he was the man before his injuries. And no one disputes that Mascherano was also the man. And I actually have high respect of Mascherano as a human being. But bro, one thing is you being a tremendous player and a really crappy coach, and I think both qualify on that particular uh, nickname. They're really crappy coaches. I think Pareja very humbly owned the tactical shift on both halves. And I think you could see tactical discipline from our side, knowing by muscle memory where to go and what their goal was and what they wanted to accomplish. And you just saw chaos and disarray on the other side. And added to the quality of the players that Orlando City has, put on the pitch. That's how it all unfolded. Now we were talking on the last spot about the rotation.
Mm.
Um, how do you feel about the? There was barely any minimal rotation there, John.
Look, um, there was two ways to go about this, right? We were in the mindset of like we'd rather save legs for Sunday.
Yeah, something's got to give, right?
And
Yeah.
yeah, like that's kind of our mindset. But I think Oscar is just in the mindset of I want to win everything, and I will play my best 11 in this game because this is a important tournament for them in many ways. Like the Champions Cup, there is 3 places on the line here, so obviously they care a lot about it, and you could tell by the way they were playing that they cared a lot about it. So I think my perspective was play a rotated squad because we're probably going to have like a 1-1, 2-1 situation, and then that won't be enough. But if you go all out for it like they did, and then you're successful like they were, and that you score a lot of goals and put yourself in a situation like we have, where we're actually now, we'll talk about it in a minute, but looking fairly likely to go through, hopefully, if everything goes the right way tonight, then that is also a way to go about it. I don't necessarily think that we were wrong in having our opinions on rotation and concerns about what will happen when the starting 11 that constantly is played all the time gets too tired. I think those concerns, Luis, are still there for Sunday and for next week. Um, but obviously they did not rotate and they wanted to go all out for it. And Oscar played arguably our best 11 that he could put out. Atuesta was injured. And Muriel clearly was up for it. I don't know what switch was flicked in his brain where he was like, I got to really perform this game. But he did. Ojeda would, that's what we're getting from Ojeda right now, regardless. The difference in this game was that Muriel finally figured out, how to be that 9 and perform like we hope he is every week, and what he's really getting paid for. So I still think we have concerns around Sunday and how tired we're going to be, especially with this heat. But yeah, I'm not mad at Oscar for going for it. I just think now that you've played your cards that way,
Now you gotta.
you've got to then play all of them again on Sunday. So, you kind of live by the sword, die by the sword, Luis.
No, I agree with you there. If Orlando City, and thank you to Communications for this. By the way, kudos to Orlando City Communications because they were on it all day today with a bunch of the
Oh
posts.
my God, so much
Uh,
happening today
yeah,
as
so
well.
much happening today. So this beautiful graphic right here. Advance if two of these happens. Galaxy loss, a PK loss, a PK win, a win by 1-2, a loss by Cincinnati, a PK loss, PK win, or a win 1-4, a loss. So I mean, all those three gotta lose
Yeah,
essentially.
right now Red Bulls 0-0, Cincy 0-0. I mean, like they literally just started.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so it's
now,
it's going our way at the moment.
Now, just like you said, it's not us trying to trash the Leagues Cup in any way. I mean, if you want our sincere opinion, I personally would rather play U.S. Open Cup. That's just me. I feel like there's more sense of purpose onto that U.S. Open Cup. If you give me Don Garber shoes, I would have the West play Leagues Cup, and I'll have the East play U.S. Open Cup. That'll be my idea. But I'm not Don Garber. Now I also not trashing the Leagues Cup. Neither uh, saying that the players can't do it. Uh, what we're saying is our squad is a little depleted with injuries. We have some key players that are still coming up and up and up. They this year, or it's not been. I think that's every year, but this year they have struggled with some consistency at home, and we are on the verge of playing one of the biggest games this year. We have the chance for the first year to put Inter Miami to sleep year round with Messi in the roster. So it's a huge statement win that it's important for the fans. And so our opinion was, why going all out in this tournament that more than likely the format is kind of wonky, and let's just save ourselves for what really is going to give a joy to the fandom, right? And so, but Pareja thinks differently, which it's fantastic, and the boys also as well. And my understanding is, for when I was speaking to Profe outside the press conference, that's kind of their motto: going game by game, and trying to win as many games possible, and competing in every game, because the prices for the Leagues Cup are pretty good. Also, you have to understand, when you work in a company, and if you're listening, about 75 people here, when you work at a company as an exec or whatever you do, if you get to, I don't know, be on the top four of best companies of let's say a pharmaceutical company, right? You're on the top four, spending the less money and creating revenue and surplus, you know, it is a double win. And Orlando wants to do that. They want to be a club that not only is promoting and investing money on their youth, but also they sign players that are low cost, high reward, and it pans them out that way. Now, yes, they've spent a little more this year when it comes to some players and acquisitions, but they are conscious acquisitions. They're acquisitions that will fit Oscar's system because he's the coach. They're not going to get him a player that he won't be able to essentially, that it's on board with the same ideals. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're poisoning the team. You're doing yourself a disservice. It's like, for example, bringing Neymar over, and then Neymar says, "Okay, guys, pass it all to me," and that's it. And then Oscar's like sitting down, like, "So what the hell am I gonna do?" Right? So it's like that sometimes. So let's do some comments here. James Regis: more financial gain for the team if they finish top three in Leagues Cup to qualify for Champions Cup next year. Maybe that's a directive from the top on why we didn't rotate. That's a good. It could be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a pathway for a Champions Cup. I agree.
I mean, also, Oscar, like we're going on our feeling of how, obviously they've got all these metrics they're using and all
Yeah.
these things that they're. My fear just comes from what happened at the end of May and like our form dropped off, and the fact that we got a lot of big opponents coming up. But maybe because we do have a full week off after this Miami game, and we're still at home next weekend. Oscar's like, okay, they're not traveling. They're gonna have that full week's rest. So he felt like we could just get through these 4 games playing the first team. Really, we won't know until Sunday. Is this going to pay off or not?
Now, we if we keep winning, we have a big chance of going to quarterfinals. So
Yeah, I mean, it's the teams that are through. Like we can, I feel like we're very good tournament team, Luis. Right? Oscar knows how to win a quarterfinal and a semifinal and a final. We've done that in Open Cup. We did that in MLS next back, and we didn't get the final, but we are a good cup team. And really, when if we go through, it's just a case of 2 Wednesday games and then a final. And if we don't even make the final, there's a third place game that the winner of that still gets a Champions League spot.
Berth. Yeah.
So it's for 3 spots. I really obviously for us, we want MLS. Like that is the thing that everybody wants. But if this season you say we're gonna win Leagues Cup, I'd probably take that. Not that
Yeah.
I still want to do well in MLS. I think the MLS Cup is the thing. It's Oscar's white whale. It's the thing that we want to win the most. But you're never going to turn down a trophy. And if we have the opportunity to be in this final, you know, 4 teams of MLS, then and hopefully we will be based on the situation right now. Then we just got to manage those Wednesday games as well. I think that's the issue. Just more games in the future, but a tournament that we could win.
Yeah. Honestly, it was a great display for the boys. An all-out attack. And also good defending as well. Very impressed with Brekalo. Very impressed with Schlegel. Alex Freeman was outstanding. You know,
Yeah.
and one thing I noticed also is like every time something good happens, this was a really massive win. I heard, for example, and I don't know, it just seems to me it's just I wouldn't do it. I'll just stay quiet. But some people are like, yeah, it's a great win, but I know Freeman may be leaving. Somebody's gonna take Ojeda away.
Yeah. Tom
Like,
Bogert
like,
was talking
like
about that
don't
on his
don't Debbie
podcast.
down me, bro.
Yeah.
Don't Debbie down me. It's so
There
Debbie Downer.
there's rumors of, well, not rumors. I mean, Tom today on his podcast talked about that Alex is still under offers, and like we
Yeah.
haven't 100% locked that down yet. But from what he was saying, it sounds like if something's going to happen, it is more likely that we will sell him and get him loaned back immediately for a year. But they are circling Alex. The Ojeda thing, I don't think there's anything there. I don't know why people are talking about that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just the way that it sounds, right? Perception is reality. So it's
Yeah.
just like, to me, it's like, we're in this high of like winning, and, we should just rally behind it and just, be so positive. But then we're like, but Alex may be leaving, man. It's like, man, you're just pinching my balloon, man. You're like bursting my bubble, bro. I wanna feel like happy about this.
We don't want to.
But
I don't want to think about it until somebody says it's actually
exactly,
happening.
and
Yeah.
and you imagine Alex like browsing around and just listening. Oh yeah, great win by Orlando, but that's gonna happen. He's gonna be leaving. Like, bro, he's not even ready to talk about that kind of stuff. But then again, it was a phenomenal win by Orlando City, and obviously with authority. But the sheet did not stay clean, unfortunately.
No.
Because there were some subs, and again, I do feel that Nico Rodriguez is a little green. I personally would have loved to seen Caravaggio. I would have loved to seen Dagger. I think Nico is still kind of
You like that
adapting to.
run? Come on, Luis. He had a nice moment there where he
Yeah,
flew past 3 Necaxa guys. So
yeah,
I know
yeah.
what you're saying, but like I feel like every game he's getting a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but like we don't have the time. I mean, there's only like a few games left in the MLS, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
But
I mean,
I don't
I
think
mean,
Caraballo is going to be much better than him at the moment. You know what I mean? I think we have to
well,
remember Caraballo is like 17 years old.
yeah, but do you feel like maybe because he's been aspiring for the first team, don't you feel like he's a little used to playing with these guys more than Nico? Uh,
Maybe.
So because I mean he was a little slow to get out of the pressure
Yeah,
by Rosano by then Necaxa,
I also think
and
that.
then right, and then Rosano kind of teed up a cross from just outside the box. So it's just those little things, right? But again, he's a kid that probably next season is gonna go off, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like the Dagger situation. When he arrived, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this Dagger kid, he's not that great. What is he? What are we doing here?" And then over time, he like he wins people over with just the level of play that he brought. I feel like Nico, he's got a lot of energy. He's running around a lot. He's trying to do the defensive work. I can see what he's trying to do all the time. He doesn't always pull it off, but I feel like he's on the right track. Is he going to be effectual this year? Maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
Luis, he's a guy that is going to be more used to us next year. But I like the fact that Oscar's giving him time, because if there's any hope of him being part of this team and like being someone who can contribute as we get closer to the playoffs, then you just got to give him minutes to get there.
No, 100%. I know a lot of the players, a lot of the young players, Nico, for example, he's shown some improvement. Yes, I agree. But, that's why there's players like Spicer coming that are more ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Players like, and we're going to be talking about those two right now because Orlando City had a signing today. It was not a Bogarts bomb. It was a, it was a Moreira bomb,
we
right?
need to
No,
come
no,
up with like a Ricardo
a,
something. He
a
needs a
Ricky bomb,
nickname.
a Ricky
Yeah,
bomb. There you go.
yeah. It's like
So
a Ricardo Romano. That's who it is.
I know for that. Yeah, that's
We had
right.
the glasses. He's tweeting the "Here you go."
Yeah, yeah. So let's look at this guy, man. Adrián Marín. Adrián Marín is a Spanish international who has been with Sporting Club Braga, SC Braga, in Portugal's top flight in 2020 since 2023. He comes on a deal through 2026 with a club option for 2027. You know, Ricardo Moreira said, Adrian is an experienced and versatile defender who adds quality, consistency, and tactical flexibility to her backline with his ability to play both fullback and center back roles. He's competed at a high level in one of Europe's top leagues and brings a type of leadership and composure we value on and off the pitch. We have been following Adrian's career for several years and are thrilled to seize this opportunity to strengthen our team by welcoming him to Orlando. He was part of the Villarreal youth system, which is one of the best in Spain. And obviously, he's played with Alaves and Granada as well and represented Spain internationally on the U17s, U18s, U19s, and U21 levels. Um, in 2024-25 with Braga, he played only in 10 games. Out of those 10 games, with 8 starts, 714 minutes, only 2 assists, and created 6 heavy chances and did 2 crosses. 212 career matches across all competitions. Um, Only 6 goals and 6 assists. So Marin John doesn't seem he's a really big goal scorer. His best season was probably 2021, 2022, when he played with Famila Sao, which is a really small team in Portugal, and when he was on loan. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this signing? Because people talk, and some for sometimes for some fans this could be their first exposure on a brand new signing. Is their first times STMs, or is the first time they go to a game. you know this to me makes a lot of sense for the versatility. What does it mean to you?
This is what we've been talking about, right? I mean, for the last, I don't know, month or so, when talking about what could come in the transfer window. For me, I always felt like left back was the biggest issue that we had. The left winger came in Spicer, and I was like, okay, is that it? Like, are we done? Which a lot of people thought. And this really, for me, shows that Ricardo has seen an issue in the squad and he's willing to go out and fix that issue in the middle of the season. And Adrián Marín is the perfect Orlando City signing to do that in several ways, mainly because he's not costing us that much money. He's going to be able to play center back and left back. And he's just a consummate professional who comes out of Europe at a good age and knows what he's doing and we'll be able, like you always say, Luis, we'll be plug and play, right? And that's mid-season. If you want someone to be able to come in right now and Oscar to trust him and play him, which often is part of the situation, right? Ricardo can sign them, but is Oscar actually going to play a guy? I feel like Adrián Marín is as close as you can get as here you go. Here's a very usable left back. Drop him in the team. Obviously, Rafa Santos has completely fallen out of favor. David Brecalo has done a great job filling in at left back. He will probably still continue to be left back in several games. But if you can integrate a new left back, a natural left footed side player who knows how to play, left back and go up the field, but also is very solid defensively, he's not going to let guys easily get past him, we hope. Then I think it makes total sense. He is very useful in that way, and not only that, he's quite large, right? I think with a left back in our system, like we have with Alex, you need to have guys with a certain amount of size in the fullback position. They can get beat on the back post with headers and stuff like that. So for me, he looks like the right kind of guy that we need, and we're not paying crazy money for him. There was no talk of TAM or GAM on this. We just signed him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a big need for Orlando City. David Brecalo out of on that side, he has pretty much been the left back this season, and Rafa Santos and Kyle Smith. Um, Adrian Marin wouldn't be here if Rafa Santos and Kyle Smith would have outperformed, and I think that's the situation here. Kyle Smith is a Swiss knife, and people know the history of Kyle Smith with the club. But Rafa Santos, he comes from a different country. He comes to make an impact. Everybody that came with Rafa Santos that year, it's doing really good. Like Angulo, for example, he has failed to make that position his own. So he has some periods, unfortunately, of strong play, but he's very predictable. And he has not seen a lot of much playing time. And it's because maybe lack of confidence by the coaching staff, And at this point, you got a few games left in the MLS. The fans, wanna, our home stamina is not the best, right? We're going on the up and up, but it has not been the best games at home for the fans. So that confidence is dwindling down. And so you have to bring a fresh face, somebody that's experienced, somebody that it's, again, the typical, and again, I know people hate it when I say this, but it's a typical Orlando City type of move. If you're from Orlando City, if you're an Orlando City fan, you gotta know how your team signs players.
Yeah.
This is not FIFA. This is not just, hey, I put Heung-min Son here. There are some players that don't like Disney. They want to be in a market, in a bigger market. Orlando's not for them, and they don't want to come here. There are teams that move the needle in a different direction than other teams. You cannot have every single team in the MLS uniform. It doesn't work in any other league like that. So um, he's low cost, high reward, high upside. A player that has played even Europa League. Somebody that has played in Europe.
Yeah, this
That,
season he played 10 games in Europa League as well.
yeah. So Marin can come in, take the left back position, and it will give Orlando City more depth. either with Rodri or Brecalo. And look, Brecalo is injury prone to be the option maybe off the bench in case of injury or suspension. You know, Orlando or Brecalo is really good at going forward. He's had a couple of times in which he's gone forward. He'll be able to do that with somebody like Marin right there. And not only that, I don't know if you noticed this, John, but don't you feel that a lot of the attack also, especially on the flank, sometimes it kind of relied on Alex Freeman on that side?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like we said, we're completely unbalanced, like we have that. And like when you talk to Oscar, he talked about, developing that relationship, like he said, with Spicer and Angulo, but really, he couldn't say anything, but, Mara and Angulo is most likely going to be that relationship that we want to see develop, like we've seen with Pasalic and Freeman. I don't know how aggressive up the left side Marin will be. I feel like Oscar will use him more like Brecalo is, and he'll drop into like a back three. I think that will be what we'll see. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to go marauding up the wing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is a very aggressive left wing back, but having played center back, and he seems like more of a fullback type than a wing back type. So we'll have to see, how high up the field Oscar expects him to go. But purely having a left back who is actually left footed is far better. Like I always say, and so many coaches think this way, that, your left back, your left sided center back, it's much better for them to be naturally left footed, just the way they're able to play balls up the line, play balls across, etc. Tackles, all that stuff. So Brecalo's done a really good job, considering he's not a naturally left-sided player. But if you have an actual left back, they're able to then, like we've seen with Rafa Santos when he was there, actually run up the left wing at times.
Yeah, I mean, look, Oscar mentioned he wants somebody that's ready. Obviously he's
He
not getting
seems
an
ready to be, yeah.
right. So I feel that he's competed in high levels and he has the experience to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to understand, there's the flights and the pitches and obviously soccer is not the first sport here in the States, but like it would be in Portugal or in Brazil or in Spain, right? But nonetheless, I think that his experience is going to be key and his adaptation is going to be fast. Hopefully, I mean, there's a lot of Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking. He speak both languages, so I think it's going to be. I'm glad that the front office is listening to the needs of because it's not just us who be saying that. There's a lot
No.
of other pundits and
Yeah.
pods and we've been
I
saying
mean,
left back and left back and left back and here you go.
but it doesn't matter about listening to us. Like we're just,
Yeah.
we're couch opinions, right? But obviously he's looked at the squad and God, I'm going to fix some issues. Like we needed a left winger rotation option. We got Spicer in. We needed another left back that we could rely on. He's got Adrian Marin in. Maybe there's more coming from Ricardo. We don't know in this window. It seems like we've stretched the budget as far as we can, but yeah, like if Alex gets sold in this window, then that would really, open things up. We'll have to see. Dylan Juleson has been signed, of course, as well. So yeah, I really feel like Ricardo is doing a great job at the moment, man. And not only that, I feel like he's is really cool the way that he's doing like the announcements and stuff. Like he tweeted out
Yeah.
he tweeted out at 1 a.m. like a little emojis, like a phone and a time and a signing. So like he gets all the fans all excited, and that like he's staying up that late to make sure our deal happens, that we're able to announce it the next day. He tweeted. I don't know if anybody saw, but he tweeted the afterwards he
Yeah,
said,
yeah, the
not
jersey.
even Booger. He said on one of his tweets, not even Booger. So like this shows Ricardo's a guy that like he's in the the X sphere with us. Like he's in the Orlando City community online, and he sees all this stuff, and he understands, and he's a fan too, and he wants to to be part of that. So I feel like there's, is anyone else's GM as cool as Ricardo? I don't think so, bro.
I highly
I feel like
doubt.
we got the coolest GM out there. So not only is he fixing the squad, he's doing it with style, Luis. So respect to Ricardo, and let's hope these two new signings can hit the ground running, man.
For sure. Anthony Roberts, this team is so much fun to watch. There you go. My son and I have gone to 5 games this season. That Necaxa game was amazing, says Anthony. Alex Freeman is a beast. Thank you so much, my friend Anthony Roberts, for subscribing and for dropping your comments. And so happy that you and your son enjoyed Orlando City. F, woo, we got a guy. Makes sense why they broke up that gam for the Spicer trade, says F. Assuming Marin is getting that dough. There you go. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. But
A
another
surprise transfer, Luis. I mean, like we had a 5-1 win and then a transfer today. Like, if we win on Sunday, is this the most exciting week in Orlando City history? It feels pretty exciting.
and not only that, you imagine if both signings have, including Dylan Johnson, have the impact that the squad needs. I
Yeah, I
think
mean, we just got to hope that Oscar uses these guys, right? Like we're talking about needs for rotation. Well, Ricardo's bringing more players. Let's just hope that they are, usable and get on the field and can take some of those minutes and share the load from all of these games, especially if we go through in Leagues Cup.
100%. Now, Dylan Julison, we have it here. Obviously, he's been signed for OCB officially, signed on an MLS Next Pro contract. Canadian Youth International, first professional deal, runs through 2027. He's already appeared in 13 games for OCB with 8 starts. 17-year-old midfielder. He's a key player during the U18's Generation Adidas Cup run. And also, he was a captain on the MLS Next All-Star Game E Squad. So, kid's very, very important. They wanted to, make a deal with him, and I'm happy that he's able to remain a Lion. So phenomenal news on the OCB side. So, anything you want to add on OCB, John?
No, I think it's that time, Luis. We got to talk about it. Sunday, the
Yeah,
big one. The El
yeah,
Clásico del Sol is here once again.
I agree with that, and let me tell you something about this. It's an upcoming game. That's the Florida Derby. Mr. Gago didn't want to give his input, even though he's faced both teams.
I loved that. What kind of answer is that, bro?
Bro, like it all you
Do
and
you
not
have an
only that,
opinion on the other team? No, I have no opinions on anybody who was in
all
my
you
team.
have to say is, bro, somebody Austin could have given you a
They played
job,
really
bro.
well. Respect to them. Something.
Houston could have given you a job. Just try to be nice to the MLS. You
No,
know what
no.
I mean?
I don't want him here. We're useless with those tactics, bro. No way.
So anyways, aside of Gago not giving his input and him facing both teams recently, August 10th, it's a very important day for Orlando City, and the most anticipated Florida Derby in Orlando. Now, I heard from a lot of sources that Lionel Messi is still in doubt.
He's not coming,
Some
bro. They said
some
he's
other
not.
sources say he's definitely not coming.
He ain't coming.
So to me, we just need to shut that coffin down and send them back, like right away. We need to be the team that beat Necaxa 5-1. Need to have that be that effective. And I know the fans are gonna, the wall already sold out, dude.
The
The wall
wall
already.
is going to be epic, man. I mean, I think, of course, the hype from the 5-1, like them coming up here, having also had to play or midweek. I feel like they had to probably exert more effort than we did to be able to get that result over Pumas. And hopefully without Lionel Messi and some tired legs for the likes of Suarez, who's having knee injections, and a lot of their team that's just run on guys that are really old in Busquets and Alba that they rely so much on. you got to hope that they're coming up here tired into a hostile environment with a sold out wall with Martín Ojeda and, even Luis Muriel in form. So we've got all the pieces, to take it to them. And I want another 3 goals, Luis. We went down to their house earlier in the year. We beat them around. Let's do it again in our house. They've never won since Messi's been there. Have they ever won? I don't think they've ever won in our stadium. So let's not start now. Rodrigo De Paul does worry me. I will say that, because he is the kind of guy who is king of the dark arts, and he could get under the skin of some of our players. And, he just has that ability to produce really good moments. And without Messi there, he's the one that everything runs around. And some of the passes that he was playing and the way that he reads the game, Luis, and gets into spaces, and he's just a very dangerous player, in my opinion. So no Messi, but Rodrigo De Paul plus others, they're still a very, very good team. Defensively, I don't rate them. So if we're aggressive and we are scoring our chances like we were against Necaxa, we should be able to win this.
100%. Look, the team momentum of each squad. Orlando definitely in an excellent form. 11-game unbeaten streak. Definitely. At some point, we were unbeaten. The recent performances, with the League's Cup, I think the team comes on a really high note, and I think defensive wise, they're very where I feel we have the better defense there. And when it comes to Inter, there's a mix kind of run of them. 3-0 loss to Cincinnati. Also, they have advanced on League's Cup at a 3-1 win over Pumas, right? And despite Messi's absence, as you say. So Miami's momentum is also strong, but tempered also with a demanding schedule and probably some injury concerns. So, I think we have the advantage of playing at Inter&Co Stadium, because definitely at home Orlando becomes alive. I believe, especially it's probably going to be a sold out game, John. It seems like this is going to be packed.
I mean, if the wall is sold out this early, it usually gets pretty close. It just depends. Like a lot of the premium tickets, I feel like without Messi, it's a little bit harder to sell those really expensive tickets. But there are still a lot of stars, and it is Miami, so we'll see. I think from the Orlando City side, we're gonna have all of the hardcore fans there, and they're gonna be so loud, Luis, because like we gotta show out and make sure that everybody knows that Florida's purple. It's not pink up here. Mm-mm.
No, hell no, it's not pink. And not only that, they have Javier Mascherano, which is a terrible coach. He has raised a lot of questions with his tactical. When he's under pressure tactically, he fumbles, he falls down. And I think when it comes to Pareja, he's a style. He's an MLS proven coach. He's a disciplined, coach, very tactically savvy, and I think in tactical preparation, I think Pareja is one of his strengths. Um, so they've already done it. I'm sure they're gonna watch the film on that 3-0 win, you know. But I feel on that level, Orlando right now, it's coming better. Obviously, this is a derby, guys, so anything can happen. Right now, I could tell you Orlando is favored to win because I love Orlando, but it's a derby, and derbies are just one. You there's really no so much predictions that we can give out of this game. I'm a little scared of giving predictions out of this game. I don't know. What about you, John?
You want to tempt fate? That's what it is? We'll do predictions in a minute. I think just things to look out for, like Allende and Segovia.
Yeah, Segovia's playing
The
great.
Paul was playing really nice balls to them, and they make these runs like inside from the outside, like in front of Suarez. So that's definitely something to look out for. I think Yannick Bright, he's a guy that will be in the team again, who's just like a workhorse in midfield, just runs around constantly to win the ball back. So we need to kind of match that energy with I don't know. I'm guessing Atuesta might not be available. So we'll have to see. Cesar is gonna, have to deal with DePaul as well. So they've got a few midfielders in there. Obviously, Busquets is gonna try and run things. So the midfield battle is gonna be a difficult one for us. But I feel like our defense is really good and can withhold a lot of their attack, especially when we're gonna go further forward. Alex Freeman against Jordi Alba. I feel like Alex is going to get the better of him if it turns into a foot race most of the time. Angulo against what Weekend, I can never say his name.
Weigand.
Weigand, the right back. So there's some interesting matchups on the wing for us, which I think we will most likely win. But the center of the park is where I get a little bit concerned, Luis. They've got so many good technical possession players who can just hold the ball and pass it around. We got to make sure that we're able to compete in the midfield, or else we're not going to be able to get the ball to be able to actually play ourselves.
Yeah. Also, like you said, they're gonna be. These are, even though they're old as hell, they're very experienced players. Suarez, DePaul. I mean, not so much DePaul. He's the youngest, but Alba. Those players, they're gonna see that they're probably there's somebody in front of them that's more physically imposing than them, especially Jordi against Alex Freeman. And they're gonna try to pull. Oh, he's pulling my jersey, and he's gonna fall like a little ballerina. That is part of the game. They can get a set piece and then score a goal. So those are the type of things that we need to be. We need to have uh, set piece discipline. Sorry,
And I
when,
also feel like he try and goat like Cesar into a red card. Like that's
exactly. That's
DePaul is
exactly what
good
they're gonna
mind
do.
games like that, or he'll anytime anybody's near him, he's gonna fall down and try and get a yellow or get a free kick. Like that kind of stuff will drive our players mad, and we can't fall into that trap.
Yeah, not only that, the set piece discipline, the head, they need to be right in their head. They need to be cool, calm, and collective, and they need to set up. Araujo needs to defend hard, physical, but without uh, getting the yellow or the red. And he's done that before, especially with Cartagena. Obviously, Cartagena is not available, but I believe that against DePaul, hopefully he's a little fatigued from recent Leagues Cup, And again, the ruckus atmosphere is going to be insane. Now, I've noticed that Miami has a high line, especially every time they defend. And Orlando has this counter-attacking style, especially in the last game led by Ojeda and Muriel. We can exploit that. We've done that against Necaxa. Quick transitions, long balls to bypass Miami's midfield press. That's something that we should certainly look into doing against this squad. Now,
Do you feel like Enrique on those? Maybe not. I mean, I know Muriel just scored a hat trick, but
yeah,
in some ways, I feel like Enrique could be better for this game. Maybe.
I
Who
agree.
knows? Who knows?
I I think Ramiro, it's a it's a player that has the ability to tread back faster than Muriel and help defend,
Yeah.
kind of like what Duncan used to do
Yeah.
um, when needed be, but also be on the alert and have a good eye on becoming open when the ball comes to him.
Yeah. I mean
So,
that's the thing, those long balls. Just that Muriel can't really play that game. He needs the ball to feet. So
right.
yeah, and I
So
don't think as bad as Miami's defense is, I don't think they're going to leave him as open as the Necaxa did.
now, when it comes to Inter Miami, I feel like obviously they have a possession based style, just like kind of FC Barcelona. Busquets and the ball are going to try to, you know, over overcome the hurdle of having to deal with Ojeda and possibly Edor Atuesta if it's healthy. This will be also a great game for Gervais to be back. To be honest with you, again, he probably may not be, right?
I'd love for him to have recovered from thigh and be ready.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. Also, Miami's going to try that aggressive pressing, but as you guys could tell, that only lasts the first maybe 35 minutes of the first half. Um, and you need to really just make sure that they're not doing that. And the set piece execution, they've scored a lot of goals through set pieces, and that's something that Mr. Perlman is going to have to work on with the squad and the positioning on how to defending those. You know, other than that, if let's say Orlando it's winning 2-0 in the first half, be honest with you, I think Mascherano is going to crumble by himself. I don't think Fafa Picault can give in a late game impact whatsoever. But our subs, on the other hand, they need to definitely make the team alive. So rested Gerbe. There you go. F. JCB, Sammy's Gerbe. I hope he comes back soon. Vamos Orlando about the signings and wins. There you go. Thank you, Josh. Will Ill. Vamos. I was so pumped on the last game. F. Thank you so much, F. Thanks to everybody that was watching. I know I made some of you mods, so thank you for your support. Appreciate you all. Also, you want to do the predictions, John?
Yep, I got it right here.
Okay, let's go ahead and share them real quick. That way we can. There you go.
I was so wrong about Necaxa, Luis.
110%. I was wrong
So
too.
wrong.
I mean,
5-1, epic win.
yeah. I mean, I got the win, but I didn't get the score.
What have you got for Fort Lauderdale coming to town?
Um. Oh man, I think it's gonna be a 3-1 win, Orlando. I can't. I can't. I refuse to say Miami will win in our house. Sorry about that, man. I know that. Oh, you're
Nope,
pressing.
I agree
You gotta
with you,
be.
man.
You
I'm
gotta be
I'm
objective.
I'm right on a 3-1 with you. I feel like I think that's it. I think they're gonna get one. We haven't got a clean sheet, but I think we're good for 3.
110%. Orlando. If Orlando gives the fans this result, guys, we're gonna have a lot of fun the last few games in the MLS. I think this is gonna, when it comes to the momentum, is gonna skyrocket the team. So I hope the Profe Oscar is watching. Hopefully, some of the players are watching this episode, and definitely, we're with you here. We'll both will be there. Me on the press box, John right there. Drunk probably. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
Definitely a
no,
few beers in by that point.
we're gonna be like they're supporting, but more than anything, just give your all. Just play with that that mindset you did in the beginning of the year at their house, and you made them look like a fools with the pants on the ground. That's what we need to do, and have a great weekend. And then that, with a 5-1 win against Necaxa, added the hopefully a 3-win against Inter Miami. That's just gonna take us out there. I don't know if you want to show the standings real quick and see how important this win may be for the Lions when it comes to what's coming next in the season, because obviously not all not all games are gonna be easy. None games are easy, but we have, after Inter, KC at home, and we have Nashville and Vancouver with a brand new signing as well. So let's see here. We have right there. So Inter with 42 points, Orlando with 41, plus 13. So if we win, you know, literally, let's say
Yeah.
a clean sheet and 3 goals, we pass them. We'll pass them.
I mean, they can pass us again because they've
Yeah.
got games in hand, but you got to put the pressure on. And this is every game we play against them that we take 3 points away is a 6-pointer. So this is
100%.
not only for the reputation, for all that, for the Florida Derby, all that stuff, but this is a 6-pointer in the Eastern table. So yeah, if they perform like they did on Wednesday, I'm not worried, Luis. So hopefully the boys will come out with a lot of energy and a lot of passion and a lot of drive to make sure that they do us proud at home and send Miami packing and the rest of the league. That Miami are kind of in this villain mode now, Luis. Like when Messi first came, and we were talking about like, oh, we're not so keen on this whole situation, and look at all the attention and favoritism that Miami get. A lot of people were like, oh, you're just Miami Orlando
You're
people
haters.
complaining, right? And now 2 years later, a lot of the other teams around MLS are like, yo, what is up with Miami? Why does the league love them so much? Why do they get all this blah 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 blah? So I feel like a lot of the other rest of the league is going to want us to win this game and kind of be backing us, and you know really be the anti Messi people, the anti Miami people are going to be pro Orlando people. And with it being a Sunday night, a lot of eyes. So we got to make sure we go out there and impress after the 5-1 win, Luis. Let's back it up and go beat Miami at home on Sunday.
And not only that, I mean, you have the new signings coming. You have Duncan probably coming back from injury.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a lot of players that are coming back. Bay. So this win is huge for what's coming next for the Lions. So obviously it is a derby, but we're Orlando's at home, and they need to show what they're made of and show the whole entire world, because every single country in the freaking world is gonna watch this game because of freaking Messi's team. Orlando City put the nail in the coffin to Inter Miami twice in 1 year. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that we should definitely get the W in this game 110%. David Albury says, I can't wait for Sunday. It will be the first match I'm able to go to in like a month. The wall is going to be nuts, and we're going to make him hear us 110%, my
I
friend.
like that energy, David. Let's go.
I love it. F, is it possible Spicer is available? Not sure what paperwork they need for an interleague trade.
It's because he's not an American citizen. Like he's
Yeah.
Trinidadian, so he's coming from Canada. There's just a visa
So,
situation. It
yeah,
shouldn't
it
be a,
is.
a long visa situation for that. Yes, it should be fairly quick.
If we get in a group for the rest of the season, we could move up nicely ahead of us on the table. Miami, Cincinnati, Nashville, twice, and Columbus games remaining. 110%, man. I mean,
Yeah,
all of those teams you mentioned are very tough teams. But if Orlando wants to compete, and Orlando has the team to compete, they just need to believe a little more, sometimes, and be a little more, be a little bit more consistent. But we have the team. We need to. This is the game that will momentum will shift right away in our favor.
yeah.
The players are gonna be motivated, and I think, and we're gonna recoup players. So hopefully that's what happens. And anyways, John, I think we're gonna be closing the pot just now. Over 100 people watching us today. So thank you so much for your support. Make sure
Mhm.
you check us out on our socials. We are Loud and Proud Orlando on Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Loud and Proud Orlando LP underscore podcast, your source for all things Orlando City and Orlando Pride. Again, I'm gonna be having we get these surveys for communications every once in a while, and this season is coming of the surveys, and I'm gonna say it right now. What my vote's going to be, if they're listening. We need an OCB rep. We need a no. We There's need to be more coverage for OCB.
I like that.
We need somebody that be able to help us out there with OCB, because we would love to give him more coverage, 110% next year. So, thank you guys for your support. We'll be back on Monday, hopefully with all Orlando decked out, and definitely with with a win, with a win, maybe with a hangover. You know, a lot of celebration. But anyways, guys, thank you, John. Thanks to everybody, and vamos Orlando. Have a good one,
Vamos,
guys.
Orlando. Thanks, guys.